National Assembly has recalled its members from annual recess and will hold an emergency plenary session on Wednesday to discuss issues of national importance. ATN gathered from credible sources privy to the development that the decision was not unconnected to the planned August 1 nationwide protest against hardship in the country. Recall that both Senate and House of Representatives had last week Tuesday adjourned plenary till September 17, 2024 for lawmakers to observe their annual vacation. The emergency plenary was disclosed in a notice by the Clerk of the House, Francis Akubweze, sent to senators, saying the plenary will hold by noon on Wednesday. Similarly, spokesperson of the House of Representatives, Rep. Rotimi Akin Jr., in a statement on Monday, said the plenary would focus on critical matters requiring immediate legislative attention. Akin noted that it was customary for the House to reconvene after recess to address pressing national issues. Joining me again this morning is Chizi Yom Masila.
Thank you.
Social political analyst. Chizi, welcome. I hope
you.
I did not massacre your name, by the way.
Well, I forgive you.
You're right. What is your take on the issue of National Assembly cutting short their recess?
In the first place, are they supposed to even go on recess? Are we not on emergency as a country, for instance? I mean, you already know if the cutting short of their national recess, of their recess is as a result of the planned protest. This protest was already there before they even went on the recess in the first instance. So why are they cutting it short? I think we have emergency in this country that all of us must sacrifice, including them. Some of us was already accusing them that they were going to abandon the country for all of us to face the youth. This is no longer about even the youth, the Nigerian, or those who wants to protect, and they were going to abandon this country. But they are coming back. But okay, I want to say it's okay that they are back and that we will take it off from there to see what they are going to come up with. Are they going to fix all that we are talking about between today and tomorrow and then the August 1st protest?
So in your opinion, in the first place, that research shouldn't have held?
That research shouldn't have held. If they are sensitive to what is happening. Even apart from...
Now, the House of Representatives will argue that they are sensitive to what is happening because if you recall, they did slash their salary by half.
Their own salary by half?
Yes.
Yes, and then go on the sex. See,
okay.
Let me say this. I am not saying they shouldn't be paid their salary. I don't even know how much is their salary. May not even care to know how much is their salary. I have said in your sister station that it's not just about salary. For instance, if you have a House of Rep member in any amount of money, and those money are tagged with their aids, the first question is to ask whether do they have those aids. And secondly, are they paying those aids? Because I am privy to one or two of them who had employed aids and weren't paying the aids what is required of. Because of course, if a member of the House, each member of the House of Reps employs 15% as demanded by the status quo. That means if you times 15 times 360 persons, we will be reducing or scrapping from the unemployment we are all crying for. The first is that are they even doing it? Where is their constituency offices where people are employed? Where is their constituency offices? Because those are the things that makes up whatever is called their salary. Where is the constituency office where people...
Their salary is the basic. Then all these addendums,
All of that. I am even assuming that
what is the total package?
When I'm looking at the total package, because if you say we slash your salary, for instance, you'll be shocked that the governor does not take up to 2 million naira. So if you are saying I'm slashing my salary, what is that? But we're looking at all of this addendum. What are they doing to do? Go to their constituency office. If you go outside the country, you can meet any of your rep anywhere. But this, if I have to, as an equity man, if I have to meet my rep member, I have to travel to Abuja. It's not costing me more than just going to the constituency office where I would have met the person ordinarily and discuss. And the person is supposed to be there by at least Thursday, Friday, for me to see the person, or Friday, Monday.
All right. Honorable Land, what is your take on this National Assembly going on recess?
First of all, thank you.
And then cutting it short to come back.
Absolutely. Thank you, Choma. As a parliamentarian, I've always advocated for the parliament being the bedrock of a democratic society. And as Nigerians, it's shameful, very, very regrettable, that in a case, in a country as big, as large as Nigeria, at the state, at its economic state right now, that those who we stood on under the sun to vote into power will continue to maradonically continue to express their shenanigans consistently, you know, without showing recourse to the people that they are representing. First of all, what are the functions of a parliamentarian? A parliamentarian has 5 functions. One is to make laws. Secondly is to advocate and represent the people. Thirdly is to educate the people. Fourthly is to engage in oversight functions that are of economic benefit to the people. And last but not the least is to make sure that the dividends of democracy gets to the constituencies that they represent. And then adding the voice to what my brother said, most of these are parliamentarians, especially within the National Assembly, within the Senate, and as well as the House of Reps. They are not first-timers. I will use one person, for example, Rep. K.O. Chinda. He has been in the House of Reps, and you recall vividly that right now he is the current chairman, minority leader of the opposition. But it's so painful that, like he said, we don't even have a functional, when we talk about functional operative rep locations, liaison offices, that members of these constituencies ought to come from time to time to have town hall meetings. How do you say you represent people when you don't get to meet with them from time to time? How do you say you represent people when there are no, people-friendly laws you make? Rep. Okechinda, I'm not trying to pick him out, but he has been in the House of Rep for more than, 3 dispensations now. Let's go back to the bills he has sponsored or co-sponsored. How many of them are community-friendly? How many of them are people-friendly? How many of them, has really, really, ignited projects within the locality where he's represented? The answer is no. And it's so painful when we see members of the Senate, the 108 senators that we have, continue to, miscarriage a whole lot of things, and these are people that we hold at high esteem. You recall vividly that today, by the hierarchies of power in Nigeria, immediately you count the president, which is 001, and the vice president, who is 002. The 003 is the Senate president. The 004 is the deputy Senate president. The 005 is the speaker of the House of Rep. And the 006, the same as the deputy speaker. But it's so painful. How did we get down to this state? As of 1999 to 2007, you recall vividly when Obasanjo, President Olusegun Aremu Matthew Obasanjo, was the president of Nigeria. Then we have the likes of Austin Okpara from our River State. We have a lot of them that spoke for the people. But it's so painful. And today, look at the economic bottleneck that Nigerians are facing. It is not kept for only the poor. Like one of my respected distinguished senators, Senator Alin Dume, submitted on Arise TV. He said he's scared, and I can tell you with all confidence that I'm scared of the state of what Nigeria is going to become in the next 2 days. Because, believe me, they say a hungry man is an angry man. And no government can be long secure without a formidable opposition, says Benjamin Disraeli in the year 1748. And it has become, it has fallen to a level whereby the people who has elected these people need to form the opposition. And the only way they can do that is for them to do the constitutional responsibility by standing to either recall these people or engage in protest. I'm not saying that a violent protest, I'm not endorsing that. But what are we trying to say? The high level of food scarcity is skyrocketed so much. Even the inflation rate today, you recall vividly that in the year 2016, when President Muhammadu Buhari did his 1 year anniversary, the rate of inflation metamorphosed from 3.5% to 13%. And Nigerians were crying. Statistics has it. Nigerian budget, Ministry of Budget has it. Then from the very moment 2023, 1 year in office of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it has skyrocketed to over 40%, 42.3% precisely. Now, where are we? Imagine that a bag of rice that was sold at 12,000 as at 2015 and at 24,000 as at 2023 is now sold at 100,000. What is the rationale for such an inflation? So it shows that even those who we have asked to represent us, they are not doing justice to Nigerians. Come to think of it, look at the speed of light whereby the new national anthem was passed. Look at the speed whereby most of the things that has nothing to bring economic value to Nigerians. Take for instance, the Senate president came up publicly to tell Nigerians that if the president makes a request of any jet, that he will give assent to it. And even before we get to hear what is happening, there was a budget that was passed for over 150 billion naira for Mr. President to acquire a new aircraft. Why Nigerians, those who own the society, those who are constitutionally owners of the country, continue to suffer in abject poverty? Why have we downgraded Nigeria to this level? And yet we continue to be pride as the giant of Africa. It's so painful and so disdain that our leaders and those who have continued to expect to advocate for our dividends of democracy continue to perplexly treat Nigerians the way they do. And it's so regrettable. Believe me, calling off the recess, come to think of it, like my brother submitted, why was even the recess embarked upon when Nigeria was burning? The average Igbo man say that no man goes hunting when their house is on fire. And Nigeria is on fire, and you're talking about going on recess. Believe me, it's regrettable for members of the National Assembly to continue to treat Nigeria.
Do you think this plenary they are going to hold will make any difference at all?
The truth is that there is no way that the plenary has any water as to what is going to happen, because come to think of it, does that go any way to enforce the president to give his emergency assent on some of the policies that Mr. President has announced to Nigerians? Does that reduce the cost of electrification that almost everybody now has turned to band A, and all of a sudden people are seeing outstanding debt that they never incurred?
Some persons may argue, because as of yesterday, the federal government have decided to subsidize the price of rice, the 50 kg rice, in certain locations, and a 50 kg rice right now will be going for 40,000 naira. And
Choma, let me also, I agree with you. But in as much as the federal government made such a submission, which is so regrettable, to hear so. No. I want you to get the point where I'm coming from. Come to think of it, Nigeria has over 2 million members of the state, and you're subsidizing only rice. Come to think of it, an average family of over 4 persons with their husband and wife, can a bag of rice sustain these people? Not giving them even standard diet.
Subsidizing the rice,
yes,
it's not time bound. Probably it is to cushion the effects of what is going on in face of the impending protest. The government has not come out to say that moving forward is going to be a permanent thing, or it's going to run all through 2024 into 2025. But it's just a move that the government has made, and they said at designated locations, which for now is not yet clear, has not been announced. So that's a statement by the government, probably yet to be implemented. So you're saying for you it has placebo effect, and in the long run will not affect anything positively.
So I'll summarize with a submission, especially to Mr. President, that there is no economy, world economy, that has ever grown with cushioning of what they call it, subsidization of food, and as well as making provisions for palliatives. It has never ever been a standard for any economy that is sustainable. And Mr. President, as you listen to me, it is very important that you go back to your drawing board, because you gave Nigerians a hope. You said that you've come to renew the hope of Nigerians. And there is need for most of the good policies that you, out of your testament and most of your political promises, expedite action, because Nigerians, they put their trust in the government of the day, and you must deliver on your words. Thank you.
All right, Chizzy, very quickly before I get your final submission on this, I need to clarify something. A statement you made when you were talking about the House of Rep members. You said that they have 15/8 and provisions, they are being paid for the 15/8.
Yeah, sure.
Now, House of Rep members are only allowed to have 5/8.
Okay.
And those 5/8 are directly paid by the government. Right, it doesn't go to the House of Rep members. So they are allowed to have 5/8 or directly paid by the government. Perhaps for House of Rep members that choose to have above that designated number, probably will be sponsoring that expenses from their personal pocket, from their income, you know. But then, what is your final submission on this move by the National Assembly? I'll also ask you the same question I asked Honorable Lance. Do you see this making any difference at all?
You know, in this country, we believe on sandwich programs. I don't know why we do that. For instance, he said there is now a subsidy. I would want to say a temporary subsidy on rice. It's not been put into action yet, but that's just a pronouncement by the president, which of course is actionable. But the first question is, if you do it now, like you have said, there's a designated place for all of us to go. So the 200 million Nigerians, we pay transport from somewhere to go to a particular place to collect, to buy rice. That means that some of us would have even paid more than what we would have even bought the rice at 100,000 naira in the first instance. Are you not telling us, you see, if you give us a policy and we know that this policy is traceable, that we're saying that, look, we're doing something that by October, by December, or by next harvest, the food will come down. Nigeria will begin to look at that. You are not telling us, you know what they just said? Maybe they just came to a round table and said, you know, these guys are hungry. Just do something and distract them. And that's what they do. You are not going to bring palliative. Palliative are we in war? That means they have also accepted that we're in war situation.
All right.